Okay, guys, today we're going to talk about the front grille of the third generation Tundra and what I think they should have done with it. The front grille of the third generation Tundra was a little bit controversial when it first came out, and the biggest part being this silver surround here, which has been dubbed the mustache. It was kind of controversial. It is kind of growing on me a little bit more, but overall, I kind of like the design because I feel like I understand what they were trying to do with the design, but I don't think they completely pulled it off. I think they were trying to reference the Forerunner, which I'm really happy about because I think it is a really good look. And here you have the fifth generation Forerunner, and you see it's got the big open mouth here, and it's got the bar going across here, and then the bumper down here. And I think it's a really good look. And there was a lot of options that the Forerunner did with this look. You know, this is the SR5 model, kind of the base model. And what you got with the SR5 was a body color top bar and a body color bumper, which I think is a pretty nice look. But you could also switch it around. Another option you had was you could have the top bar being body color and the bottom bumper have a skid plate or a bumper protector on it. That was kind of another version they had. I think that was for the TRD off-road. Or you could have this one. This one, the bottom bumper was body color and then the top bar was blacked out. And those are kind of the options you could get. The top version, I guess if you want to consider it that, the TRD Pro actually had the top bar and bottom bar blacked out. And so that lets you see the different options that you could get with this. With the bottom bar, you could do either body color, skid plate, or blacked out. And the top bar, you could get either body color or blacked out. And then the combination of those, you know, you had a lot of different looks that you could come up with the Forerunner. And I think that's the look. I think this is the reference they were using for the Tundra, which, like I said, I do like because I think this is a really good look. The Forerunner, I think it's one of the best and most iconic designs out there. I think Toyota really knocked it out of the park with this design. So I think it is a good reference to use for the Tundra. And so let's go to the Tundra. And what I would have done with this front grille, you got the top bar here and you got the bottom bar here, is what they did with the Forerunner. And the first thing I do is to eliminate the controversy and to kind of, once again, reference the Forerunner. First thing I would do is I would make the mustache body color. And they do have that option on here. But for every level, well, except at the end, I'll talk about another level. But for every level of the Tundra, I would just leave it body color. I would just go with body color. And then from there, I would use the top bar and the bottom bar to create the, different levels of the truck. So right now you have this as body color. And I think there's going to be the redesign for the Tundra coming up. And I think you hear a lot of people talking about how they like the Sequoia and the Tacoma, and they're hoping that the Tundra kind of copies that look. So what we have here, just really quickly, is a Sequoia front end, and the Tacoma is very similar. But this is more similar to the Tundra. It's got the Tundra front end, except the difference between the Sequoia and the Tundra is that the Sequoia has this body color coming around the grill, so it kind of finishes off the grill. It encloses the grill, kind of finishes it off, which is a nice look. I can see why people like it. But I do kind of like the raw, kind of open, unfinished look of this right here, the Tundra. And I think for a truck, it's kind of like a really tough look. It looks really good. But I do think even with just this grill, they could have done what they did with the Sequoia. One of the levels could be what you do is something like this. You just take this part of the bottom bumper and you make it body color, and now the grill is surrounded and finished off, and it kind of gives it a nice look. and it gives you that Sequoia look, and you don't have to go crazy changing the whole thing. And also, another thing you can do just really quickly with this, if you wanted to, is, let's see, make the whole thing body color. And then you're kind of getting more into a really finished look, almost like a car type of situation or automobile sedan. You know, you're getting away from the tough pickup look and more to a finished car look, which seems like Dodge is starting to do with um, some of their lower models, like the 1500 levels, making it more car-like, and then having the higher models look a little more rugged or what have you. But anyway, so that could be one look right there, just using the same grill that they have right now. So, and then another look that they could do, let me see. One look they could do also that we talked about is the bottom part being skid plate, and then the top bar being blacked out, or actually, you could have the bottom red and then the top red too. And then that's like another look you could do. And this is like the 4Runner SR5, where you have the top and bottom bar being body color. This top bar isn't going to read as good in the body color because I think that, you know, it should be more separate. You'd see more shadow lines and things like that. But that kind of gives you an idea of what it might look like. And, you know, it's an okay look. But so that's one thing you could do. And then another look, like I just showed, is the bottom being chromed, just like that one 4Runner that we saw. Then the top could be body color. And again, you're just mixing and matching here. And something that they didn't do with the 4Runner that I think they could do here is actually make the top bar chrome too. And now it looks like you have this metal coming through the top here, kind of like a brush guard or something really tough, big, thick piece of metal coming here and a big, thick piece of metal here. And again, you can mix and match, make the bottom body color, make the bottom blacked out. That's kind of a cool look too. You got the top bar up there like a brush guard. Yeah. So anyway, and then, like I said, you're just mixing and matching these things. And one of the ones that I like the most is actually, you can get it this way from Toyota. And this copies the TRD Pro of the 4Runner, where this whole thing is just all blacked out. And you can already get it this way, so it's like another option. That's why I really like this one, because it's just like the 4Runner. It just looks like this big open mouth, which I really like. But like I said, this is everything with the mustache being body color. But I do think that the top level, they introduced the capstone for this generation Tundra. And I think something they could have done with the capstone is you got the top chrome and the bottom chrome. And then now, just for the capstone, with that one, what you can do is then you bring in the silver grill surround. And then for the top one, you have this big, you know, kind of like the big boss man's truck with the big chrome grill. And I think that would look cool. And then the middle part is kind of blacked out just to differentiate it, just make it a little bit different. But anyway, so that's my ideas for the third gen Tundra front grille, what they could do, what they could have done. And I think it would have looked really nice and it would have given them a lot of options. And that's my idea for it. So thanks for watching.